I just want to make sure you guys had passports. That's all. We should do this thing though.
Welcome back to Can You Not? Week 2 in the dictatorship life. I'm Joe,
King Drum.
I'm Joe, and we just discussed this. I have a passport.
As do I.
Your name is Brian.
Brian. Brian has passport. Brian will travel.
Amber has passport. Will travel. We all have passports. This is important. I hope everybody listening also
get one.
Has a passport. Just Kristallnacht started about 4 years after Hitler got put into power. So if it doesn't expire in the next 4 years, I think you'll be okay.
Anyway, so the theme for this episode is symbols and symbology, as chosen by...
I said symbolic things.
Oh, okay, well. All right.
I think I said symbolism.
Symbolism.
What is symbology?
As chosen by the very pedantic Amber J.
Wombology, the study of wombo.
Symbologilism.
Joe is literally the side chick right now. I'm sorry.
Jesse's here. He also has a passport.
Yeah. Jesse's. This is his apartment too. I don't know if you guys know this, but we record these episodes in Jesse and mine's apartment. And so anytime you hear like Jesse and stuff
Jesse
like that,
has pasta, will travel.
So the reason that I picked this topic is explicitly because of the safety pin thing.
Okay.
That has been going on. Because I have seen so many different things that people have to say about this. I think one of the first things that I saw was Jesse Single on Twitter posting this Twitter rant about how stupid he thought the backlash against the safety pin gesture was, because he said, like, you can't be mad for the little things that really do help people cope just a little, like using the safety pin as, like, you know, something that you can look at other people and say, okay, you support me. And then, like, you know, the right is saying, like, it's this evil symbol of, like, neoliberalism or white privilege and all this other stuff. So this person was really mad about it. But meanwhile, there are other articles that say this is a comic, actually, it's on the nib, and it's why the safety pin movement isn't so safe. And it's this idea that as soon as something gets popular, people can commercialize it, they use it for their own gain. Mm-hmm. Like, one of the things that they have is, like, this picture of a necklace, and it's hashtag I stand with you safety pin necklace, $335. Like, they capitalize on it, and then once people start using it as that kind of thing, you can't look around and decide who's being legitimate with this symbol and who's hopping on the bandwagon. There's also a Dear White People on the Huffington Post that says your safety pins are embarrassing, because it's just people doing things to make themselves feel better. They're people who aren't actually going to step up and do anything if they see anything wrong. And when I first saw the safety pin movement, I was really interested in it. I was like, this would be a really good way for us to be able to look at each other. Because we were actually talking about this earlier. The day after Trump was elected, it was really hard to look people in the eye because we'd look around and go, I don't know where you stand, and where you stand is potentially harmful to me and the people who I care about. Mm-hmm. So having this symbol, I thought, might be kind of cool, but then it moves out to, like, don't wear the safety pin unless you actually have a plan and are willing to act on it. Don't do this, don't do this. And then, you know, the other side of it is don't do it at all because it's really stupid. So I was interested in what your guys' opinions are about this whole safety pin thing.
I personally feel like everything is going to get misconstrued in some way. Like, everything that has a meaning, you can twist the meaning. Like, I saw also on your article, it talked about the Black Panther movement. That started out as something positive, something that was very effective, and it turned into something completely different just based off of how everyone else interpreted it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, what this was actually saying, because the Black Panther movement is on this comic, it says, when there's a movement, people will co-opt and distort its message from the core, using it for causes contrary to what you stand for. When you have a movement, people will work to destroy it from the inside.
Exactly.
The Black Panther Party was dismantled by government infiltration. Exactly. So that's what that says. So,
but with everything, like, locks have a meaning. I have locks, and they mean something to me. For me personally, it's a way of showing that I'm proud of my heritage and where I come from, even though I don't know specifically where I come from. Like ethnically, I know that people in African countries have locks. People in not just Jamaica, but a lot of other island countries have locks. So for me, that's what it means. But when some people see me, like my mom personally doesn't, she likes the fact that I have them, but the way that I wear them, if it could mean one thing to her or a total another thing, you know what I mean? Someone sees someone with the afro, they think something of them, I mean, everything has purpose and reason, and you can always misconstrue it, or
Yeah. I think it's a good idea in concept, because I was talking with Bryce about it and stuff like that, because like the day after I had heard about it, and I like put one on my coat because I was like, this is a really cool idea, because they were talking about like how his origins were with Brexit and stuff like that. And but like you're saying, like symbols only have meaning if there's a action, or if there's like an active effort behind it. Mm-hmm. And so like if I'm gonna wear this pin, I don't want it to just be like, oh, okay, well, I'm doing something. I don't want it to just be like that. If I'm going to keep wearing it, I'm kind of holding myself to it. Like, here's a thing that says, like, I'm going to help if some goes down. And, like, I need to, be able to stand up to that. So, like, I kind of see it more as, like, a challenge to myself. However, I do know that a lot of people probably will just wear it being like, oh, this is cool or whatever. Like, I'm doing something, and just leave it at that. So I can see why most people would probably take that. And I can see, I hadn't even thought of the thing that you brought up about like being something that could be very commercialized very quickly. And
underneath that article was literally like one of those t-shirt websites was a safety pin shirt that you could purchase.
Wow.
Talk about in your face. It was right there. Like,
I think for everyone, it's your own personal level of commitment. But if you feel strongly about an issue, like what the safety pin, that was me, sorry. The safety pins mean, like, it's better to wear it, even if you're not going to do something physically, actually go out and protest or sign a petition or whatever. You're doing something, you know what I mean? If you're not willing to commit to going out and actually doing more than just wearing a safety pin, then wear that safety pin, you know what I mean? But like you said, for you, it's your challenge to yourself. You felt like, okay, I'm wearing the safety pin, now I have to go and do something. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's kind of like with voting. Would you rather someone say, oh, I feel like it's not really going to matter that much, so they're not going to vote, you know what I mean? Versus actually going and doing it,
Yeah.
Just the bottom of this comic, because I think the comic is very poignant and really worthwhile. It says, as an ally, you don't get to determine what makes us feel safe. Because when your tactics are weak, how can we discern between ally and infiltrator? And the picture is of a person wearing a hijab, like being surrounded by all these like crazy dudes, and this person in the background wearing a safety pin, just staring at it. And then it says, we can only know through swift and meaningful action when it counts. And that's where the comic ends. And on top of that, this other article that is Washington Post. It says, the title of it is, Go Ahead and Wear Your Safety Pin, but Don't Expect People of Color to Care. The paragraph that caught my eye was, the fact is you're either a dedicated ally or you're not one at all. Either way, you don't get a gold star. And the more I hear and read the aforementioned sentiments, the more those pins start to look like self-gifted gold stars, and nothing about that makes me feel safe. You know what I mean? Like, people can say like whatever they want. They can say I'm an ally. They can say I support LGBTQ. They can say like I'm not racist. But you have to look at what they do. And this safety pin is such a simple thing. Anybody can put a safety pin on their shirt. But like I feel like almost as a movement, because it's so simple and because it's already being commercialized, and because so many of the people, I just have to assume so many of the people who choose to put this safety pin on don't know what to look for, don't know what to do if they see anything, and won't actually step up. It's like useless as a movement to me. It feels like. The
other thing I thought of is like, we always talk about how Donald Trump is like a dictator-like person. And with Jews, they had them put a star on their jackets, or wear some kind of band to identify them, right? If you're walking around with this safety pin and you're the only one with a safety pin on in a room full of Trump supporters, and they decide, well, we don't like you, so we're going to treat you this, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of calling yourself out, and that
Right.
could work against you.
Well,
that was the first thing I thought of, but
maybe I'll take it off my coat. I don't know. Do you think that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm being really, really pessimistic about it. I feel like as the other thing though is that, like, going back to the first thing that I said, this Jesse Single on Twitter saying like you never really know what can help people, like maybe just seeing that and being aware of your stance, at least on a conceptual level, will make people feel better. And like your approach, that might not work for some people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me personally, putting a safety pin on won't help me with anything. I actually, like, I want to know that I can look around and notice something, and I don't want to, like, ruin somebody's day because I missed something.
Right.
You know, because I feel like that works against what the whole thing is about. Because I'm not trying to, like, people who actually find this helpful or useful or think it's doing good things, like, I mean, if it helps you act, by all means.
right.
You know, like, if it helps you act, keep it.
Okay.
Like, I'll be damned. Like, because that's the important thing, really, is acting.
Yeah.
When you see something. Because, I mean, I'm not even talking about protests or petitions or anything. I just mean, like, if you see something bad happening to somebody,
Right.
like, act.
But I would hope that, I mean, there's studies about, like, things like if someone was being raped outside of our window and there's 50 apartments here, 9 times out of 10, no one's going to call the cops because they think someone else is going to do it. I mean, the hope is that people just would act anyway, but it's very unfortunate that we have to have something like the safety pins or whatever. You know, people always talk about the symbolism with a lot of different symbols within art. But the one that I wanted to talk about, have you guys seen like the memes and things about how Disney hides sex in their in their films?
Yeah.
Would it, like, say it came out that Disney actually did this, like, would people stop watching Disney movies?
No.
Does that take away from how great these films are, what they mean for people? You know?
I just found the Little Mermaid dick picture.
Yeah.
Because it's like the cover of the VHS, and if you look back in the castle, there's a phallic-looking thing, and there's a
A
little
few
box
of
art.
them.
The castle.
The cat. That one though.
Yeah, that one's
though.
pretty.
This is a big. If you look it up.
It's a big, huh? What?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right there.
I like to actually. There's a funny instance of that in The Lion King, when grown Simba, like lies down and he just like breathes out into the night.
Yeah.
And, like
It
the
spells
dust creates.
spells sex,
It spells
quote
sex.
unquote.
That's the dumbest.
And what
one.
they did is to try to change to ward that away in future versions of I believe the VHS tapes. They changed it so it said SFX, and they said, "Oh, our special effects team threw that in." Like they were just spelling out special effects. That was like a really like the dust was like a CGI or something like that. It's like, okay, but we
So
know
what
that
is it
most of
in
your
this?
animators are like.
Oh.
Brian and I are looking at this picture list of stupid stuff.
If you've ever seen the Rescuers too, they fly by a window where there's a naked woman undressing during a chase scene as well for like one frame. Yeah, you know what though, like
I
think it's kind of harmless, honestly. I don't think it's a big deal. I think the people who would even see these things and be able to pause frame by frame, you know, it's just like, what little kid is gonna notice that kind of stuff?
Right.
You know?
I don't
It's
think
like,
I don't think I would tell my siblings to stop watching The Lion King.
This one's the funniest one. I wish you guys
The
could
one
see what
before
it's.
is pretty funny.
Yeah. No. Okay. So I feel like I feel like nobody actually cares, and especially since like there's so much to be said. Like you could step back and say they didn't purposefully do any of this.
Right.
Like I'm looking through these pictures, and you can Google it. It's like hidden Disney sex pictures or something. Like I don't know. Just like you just need the key.
You might end up in the
Yeah.
wrong portion of the end.
Let me look at what I googled. I googled Disney hide sex symbols. Okay, that's what I googled, and like these are all Jesse's
Jesse,
joking.
okay?
Jesse, breathe, Jesse, please.
But okay, so some of them, like some of the things
that
on
one's
this
actually
list
kinda
are like, in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, there's this little baby thing. I haven't seen Who Framed
Oh,
Roger
there's a
Rabbit in
lot
years.
in that
And it's
one.
like looking up somebody's skirt, and like so that thing's on purpose. But obviously we didn't care about that.
Right.
And then these things were like you find things that look phallic, or you.
What is it for?
She's allegedly not wearing underwear.
It
Allegedly.
doesn't look like it.
I mean, that looks like her other leg to me. I don't. It's Hercules. I
You
don't
never know.
You never know.
No, that one's
That
pretty.
one's hilarious. But I mean, I'm really sorry you guys can't see this.
I wish
I don't
it
think it
was
would
a
stop
TV
anybody
show.
from watching. Like,
No.
it wouldn't stop me from watching.
No.
And there have been like in Song of the South. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Disney World,
Mhm.
but Disney has like disowned Song of the South,
yeah,
right? And there's
yeah.
still this huge roller coaster for it.
Right.
And in it somewhere, somebody says something like, I want to grab your butt or something like that. Like, in the ride. Like, it just happens. And it's... nobody cares.
Or it's like in Aladdin, they're like off screen after the magic carpet ride, and supposedly you can hear Aladdin saying, "Now be a good girl and take off your clothes." But
I don't believe you.
What?
now supposedly
Aladdin.
they say that's not true, and they said, "Oh, it's him like telling the carpet to go away" or something like
But the other problem, too, is context. If you zoom in on things,
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You should
you
just see
could.
that one.
that's so funny. It's a
This is the
picture...
best visual podcast, guys.
It's the picture. It's a picture of Minnie and Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse is reaching around Minnie, and she has her arms like around him, and it looks. If you zoom in on the dress, it looks
like a penis.
phallic.
But here's the thing, though. One of my favorite books when I was little was no. Listen, just wake me up for a second. Just wait.
Oh,
a
Joe.
second. One of my favorite books when I was little was this book that was published that I found in the nonfiction section of the library, where it was talking about like the hidden dark side of Disney. And they're talking about like the people who had died at the theme parks and the people who had, snuck in these things into the movies and the conflicts that happened behind the scenes. And so like maybe I guess young me actually probably was really interested in this stuff, because now I was like, wait, shit, that happens in it? And I would like try to find these movies, and I would actually look for these things.
my
So
goodness.
so maybe their corruption did work, because young Joe wanted to try to find this stuff. So
Dude,
Young
okay,
Joe
speaking of
was
people who
hitting
died at Disney World, have either of you guys ever been to Disney World?
Yes,
I would
I
love-
love Disney World. I've
you
been
know the
3
people
times.
mover?
I
You know
would-
the people mover in Tomorrowland? It's just that thing that isn't fun that just goes in circles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. 3 people have died because
How?
the people mover stops for nothing and they get in front of it and it just mows them down. Like,
That's crazy.
I would love to visit a Disney theme park someday. That would be
If we could get in a film fest in Florida.
the Disney Film Fest.
other fun fact, I learned, I couldn't find it online just now, but I learned over the summer that in like Rome, I think it was ancient Rome, penises were considered good luck. So like they had like little keychains and like pendants.
They wore
and just
penises?
like dicks everywhere that you could
Half
just
the
carry with
population
you.
was really lucky.
And the other half just carried around little sculptures, and it was great.
the
Everything was
penises.
fine. Yeah, dude, they
It's
really
like New
liked
Orleans
dicks.
at freaking Mardi Gras time.
I thought that was boobs.
They have boobs and penises
Oh,
everywhere.
I've never been to New Orleans. I knew the boobs happened. but-
Yep, when I went, it was when Ohio State was playing Alabama, and there were penis necklaces everywhere. It was like every Mardi Gras bead was like penis football, penis football.
That's all you need.
You know what that sounds like? Every white bachelorette party.
I've never been to a bachelorette party. I wouldn't.
I don't think it.
I don't think I want to go.
Yeah, I guess I think it's harmless. I think that like I said, like especially like some of these ones that were done back in like the 50s, like what do you expect with a bunch of 30-something-year-old dudes who are cramped in a small room day after day?
Let's hide it. Let's hide one in there.
Let's find a dick in there after they're drawing and laying drawings. Like, I can see how that would happen.
And honestly, Disney is so much tamer than the cartoons that I watch. Did you guys ever watch Ed, Ed and Eddie?
Oh my god.
Come on.
They did not hide the penis.
They did not. No, they were literally, there's like a screenshot of them like underneath Eddie's bed. And he's like showing Double D like his brother's magazines, and there's like a tissue box and wadded up tissues all over the place under the bed. And it's just like
There's that episode of Rocko's Modern Life where he's like a sex phone caller.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
And I'm like, how did they get away with that in '93?
I love cartoons.
I mean, they don't explicitly say it, but he's like on the phone.
You know what'd be hilarious? If we found out that like all of the characters literally like they drew a penis and then they were like, now how do we turn this into a character? How do we make a lion out of this?
The other thing I think too,
Now make a princess out of it.
Oh my god, that's so funny. That's the new game. Draw a dick, make a princess. See what happens. Does it work? Who knows?
Well, I think I think it's more fun when it's subtle like that too, to find these things, because like I think about a show like Ren and Stimpy, which was so good at hiding these innuendos, and it was hilarious the way they would work it in because they had to work within these constraints of making a kid show. But then like a couple years later, after the show ended, they're like, hey, do you want to do an adult version of the show? And then they were like, yeah. And it sucked because once they could open the floodgates and do any joke they wanted to, they didn't have to be subtle about it or clever about it. It wasn't as fun. It wasn't. It
Suddenly
just wasn't.
The
was
cleverness
Family
was
Guy.
what
Yes,
made it.
it's just Family Guy. It wasn't. So
That's not fun for anybody.
So I don't know. I think subtlety. I don't know. It depends. I think sometimes subtlety.
I think subtlety makes everything way better because it's way funnier watching shows.
So subtle
like,
sex in Disney movies make them better.
I don't think it was sex. It was just dicks.
Subtle.
Subtle dicks.
Subtle dicks.
Subtle dicks and pricks. Speaking of people who are not pricks, we're going to talk about our latest sponsor.
Get your broke ass out. Why?
Help. Help. You broke Brian.
What the heck? I'm about to cry.
If
This is
you
the
were,
funniest episode.
if you were a dog,
I'm crying. If you were a dog.
if you were a dog, would you like to have monthly treats delivered to your doorstep?
Boy, I wish I was a dog.
Don't you? Because BarkBox is a monthly box of goodies for dogs and their humans, starting at $20 a month. And if you go to
Jesse's face.
if you go to getbarkbox.com/canyouNot, you can get a free month of BarkBox for your pooch. They have themed collections with 4 to 6 toys and healthy treats. And every toy is...
I'm fit to die.
They claim on their website that every toy is crazy dog person designed and dog approved. So if you think that your dog might want a special treat once a month in a box form, you can go to getbarkbox.com/canyouNot for your free month today. Woof!
Woof.
I was thinking the wrong thing.
You know what's crazy to me? That might have been the gayest thing you've ever said. And you said woof after it, making it even more gay. So this is so confusing.
You said it wrong, Joe. You were supposed to say woof.
Maybe in honor of this episode, they'll send out a phallic dog toy.
Or maybe in honor of this episode, they'll say, we don't want you to sponsor our show anymore.
I think you're gonna need to retake that. I think you're gonna need to retake that in your own time.
I think it was magnificent.
Because we talked in our last episode about white guilt. We were talking about that with your friend William and myself.
Yeah. Will the Thrill. Shout
And,
out
like,
Will the Thrill.
I was trying to be really respectful of like how you guys were going about it, but I don't know if I fully agree with everything that you guys had kind of concluded about it. And Jesse made a really good point. Our fan Jesse left a post on Can You Not SoundCloud.
Our fan Jesse.
And said, it does require pride for people. Also, do we need a month? We are not in a post-racial society. Also, I don't have enough room to type. But to Amber, just to recap, basically what we were saying was that, like, Brian was saying that he felt that white guilt should not be a thing because it's in the past and it's...
Well, not quite. I feel like I personally wouldn't want you guys to feel guilty about something that you didn't do personally. I feel like white guilt is something that a lot of black people look for in white people. You know what I mean? Like there are some black people, now I'm not going to say all, but there are some black people that look for white people to apologize for something. You know what I mean? Like if I was expecting for you or Amber to be apologetic about what happened, even though you probably have nothing to, I mean, you obviously personally have nothing to do with it, and you understand.
I mean, I did have a slave till the age of 6, but that's in my past now, and I don't look back on that time fondly, so.
What the heck? What the heck, Joe? But anywho.
Jesse's giving me a death glare. Sorry.
I just stopped believing.
But you, I mean, I just lost my train of thought.
I can agree.
All
with
the
you.
oxygen left on my organs, and I had to get
I
it
feel
back.
like it's more important for you to understand what happened in history than for you to feel guilty about
Should
it.
I clarify my comments?
Well, no, yeah, because I think what we were getting at was not so much that point, but it was the point that you were saying, well, why do we have Black History Month? Because we don't need that.
No, I mean,
all American history.
I was saying, what I mean personally is, I feel like I think the people that created a lot of these organizations like the NAACP and stuff like that would much rather it be that we do not need them. You know what I mean? Like, when you make something, I mean, in terms of, how do I put this? We want to get to the point where we do not need an NAACP. Currently, we do need one. Currently, yes. But we would like to get to the point where people do not look at people as, oh, you're a colored person, so these things must go along with who you are. You know what I mean? That's what I meant by I'd rather there be no white guilt. But since it's here, how are we supposed to look at it? That's the question that I was asking.
Hey Jesse, could you clarify your comments since you're sitting here?
So my issue, there was 2 issues I had with the comments and the minute mark it was at. So one comment was basically, okay, for me, I understand the situation at hand, but I did not get the idea of the importance of a Black History Month for the fact of we are all beings and that every day should be Black History Month. Every day this history should be implemented in. I do agree, but unfortunately, before this election and after this election, we need that month.
Right.
And
that's what I was trying to say. We need them. And not saying that we don't need them, but I would rather be in a place where we don't need a Black History Month, where it's a part of. No, I mean, obviously, it's not. We're not in that place where.
And we're talking about symbolism here, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We are symbolized as the other. Women are symbolized as inferior. You know.
Right, and that's what I mean. I'd rather us not be an afterthought. You know what I mean?
We're never going to reach that point.
No,
I feel like there's always going to be a need for it, no matter how homogenous society can be.
And that's the piece of the conversation that was not had.
Right. I mean, that was also because it was a shortened time.
Exactly, but that was the pivotal piece that made me comment.
Right.
Because there was not that conversation. And this is such a fitting topic that was brought up because we're talking about symbolism here.
That's why I tried to tie it in. But I think I don't know if William would agree though, because the way he was kind of phrasing the argument, I got the impression that he was saying like, because the example he used is like, when we have these textbooks, like they try to throw it in at the end, and it's like, oh well, we shouldn't need it specifically. It should just be, and it's
because
like,
it's part of history.
yeah.
It's not its own chapter. It's interwoven
Right.
into.
That's what I was
everything.
about to. That's
Yeah,
kind of how I feel
But
about
the
it.
way that he was delivering it did not give the intentionality
Yeah.
of therefore integration.
Yeah,
There
that's
was
what I
no
meant.
integration on his end with that conversation.
That's
Right.
what I. That's
And that was the
what
other
I-
thing. He and I talked about it more in the car
There
afterward.
was no integration whatsoever. He was very post-racial,
Yeah.
and that was my problem.
Yeah.
So
You
so
cannot
what
live.
did he want? If he didn't want to tie it in, what did
He was just
want?
it's basically an all lives matter to me kind of argument.
Oh,
It's very close to it. I'm not saying it's the same thing,
Well-
but it's depreciating the ethnic identity that we hold.
The one thing that he and I did talk about, and I hope I don't get this wrong in kind of trying to portray his opinion on it, but we actually specifically talked about the All Lives Matter movement, and he brought up the fact that much like the Black Lives Matter movement, it didn't start as like a hate group. You know what I mean? People look at it as the response to the Black Lives Matter movement in a negative way now, but that's not how it started. You know what I mean? And
I don't know if that's true though. I feel like it was.
I will tell you why it's okay. Amber, you go ahead.
okay. So what I was gonna say is that the problem that I have with the All Lives Matter movement is the same problem that I have with Meninists, and it's not that
Thank you.
their
Thank
point
you.
of view is wrong,
Right.
because all lives do matter. Men's lives. Or like men's lives
Men's
matter.
rights or
White
whatever.
men matter. Black men matter. Men matter. Feminism isn't trying to say that they don't. Feminism, for the most part, focuses on women and rape crisis, which can apply to men. That's a different conversation. But the problem isn't that they say it. The problem isn't the idea behind what it should
It's
be. The problem
the
is it's a
content.
reaction.
Yeah, that's
and
what
they
I
don't
was-
actually care about all lives.
Right,
They don't
and that's-
actually care that like the suicide rate among white men is one of the highest. Like they don't care about that. They care about shooting other people down.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what I was trying to say. I don't think, in his mind, he was trying to say that we aren't in that place yet, but if we were, I mean, comment if you want to, Will. I'm sure he will comment after this
And we're not
conversation.
trying to attack you.
No,
It's
no.
just
I
that
didn't even listen
You were
to the
being
podcast.
very. I was just thinking again about like like when I was editing and stuff, and I was thinking again about the conversation and stuff. So that's why I brought it up again. I wasn't trying to attack you.
I mean,
specifically.
obviously, I think he was trying to bring to the forefront the fact that we aren't in a post-racial society, obviously, but people of different ethnicities, obviously women, should not be an afterthought. He was saying, and I agree, that it should be a part of history. You know what I mean? We shouldn't go, all right, this is history, and then this is black history. This is history, and then this is women's history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of, and think about this in schools, right? We learn about history, all these things that happened in the
We
60s,
learn about a
right?
bunch of white guys, and then
Right.
we learn about Martin Luther King.
Right. That's what you learn about all
We
these
choose them.
things that happened in the 60s. And then you learn about black history separately. So you can't tie in these things together. So what were white people doing while Martin Luther King was marching in Selma, or you know, like what were white people doing when Malcolm X got shot, and you know?
And the other thing too that drives me crazy, I feel like I have 10,000 thoughts going on right now, and this is just on the top. The way that people intone Martin Luther King, like he wouldn't be marching right now,
Yeah.
like
Right.
he would
Yeah.
be against what's happening. Like, I mean, like obviously nobody is for riots, but that's what happens when
There
you
were riots
continually
when he was around.
right, and that's what
And he
happens
fought
when you
against it.
continually deny people the things that they need.
Yeah.
Like, and it drives me crazy, and I keep Googling. I don't have the article right now, but it's like, dear white people, be careful when you intone this person condemning this group of people. You know,
White people choose the 3 Martin Luther King quotes they like about, and that's pretty much it. So, like, if they
3 out of 3 million. Like,
yeah, if they actually read most of what his rhetoric was and stuff, they probably wouldn't be so
like
on
everything.
board with
Like
what
he
had
was
to
a
say.
he was a criminal by the law. He was arrested all the time.
Mhm.
Like he was not on Donald Trump's team, right?
Right.
Like, he
was
would not be
controversial.
condemning these people.
Right.
And just an interesting factoid, his approval rating by the public, MLK
Who's-
Jr.,
oh.
before he died was 28% by the white public.
Mhm.
When he died, it was like 64%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
So I have no beef against you. What's his name again?
Will?
Will. I just needed more clarification and contextual evidence for your arguments. I can't rock with everything you say, but that's what this podcast is for.
Yeah,
All right.
So
absolutely.
I've
Discussion.
never seen you, no diss to you, but I can't rock.
Yeah, and I just, again, want to thank our fan, Jesse, for inspiring that conversation by leaving that comment on the page.
No relation to me either.
Certainly
Just
not.
some other Jesse.
Just some Jesse Paradise guy. Oh, man. So if you guys want to check out more episodes, guys or people of non-determinate gender, I can't using the word guys.
Or females.
If
No,
you people,
no, females, they don't.
If
they
you
can't
human
listen to the
pe-
show.
if you
It's
humanoids
guys
out
and
there,
agender, non-gender, I'm fine with that, but no girls allowed, please and thank you.
I need to leave. I don't belong.
Come with me.
We're
So-
going to Canada.
You can find us on soundcloud.com/CYN podcast. Find us on iTunes under the podcast section. Give us a rating. We'll read it on the show. You can email us at canyounnotpodcast@gmail.com if you have any ideas or feedback. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, so check us out. And I don't talk about this very often, but we are on YouTube as well. I post all the episodes to YouTube.
what?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Yeah,
either.
We have a YouTube channel. We have like 2 subscribers. So if you look
What?
if you look in the description and go to it, come
Is it
subscribe
connected to
us.
the
I
Poggi
feel-
Joe page?
No, it's a
I
completely
feel like
different
that's
page.
important because people who don't want to download SoundCloud would love
That's
that.
true.
Like
Can
me.
you like?
And
Can
some
you
people
connect
like
them
listening
so
to
they're
podcasts.
easy to find, or it's easy to
I
find?
could probably link it on my.
Yeah.
You should.
Because the trouble is, we can't change the URL for it until we get 100 subscribers.
Right.
So I can't make it like youtube.com/canyounnot.
Yeah, you should
so,
link it on all the social media.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah. So guys, if you want to check that out in the description, come subscribe. What did we learn today?
We learned that Disney loves penis.
Disney loves dick.
Dick knees.
Dick.
Dick knee.
I think I unlearned things.
You lost.
I think I lost intelligence. No, I learned that my friends have passports, and I'm glad. And I hope you all also
And we
have
will travel.
passports.
Yeah.
Poppy, here we come. Senegal.
I learned that Brian is not a dog, but he wishes he was a dog.
Woof woof.
Help me. Send help.
Can you not send help for Amber?
Oh.
Because she's a girl.
And this is Trump's America.
You've been,
As Amber doesn't laugh.
you've been listening to the Donald Trump podcast.
Can you not?
Help.